From the streets of Chicago to the headlines of the world, you are now tuned into the rhythm of real thought. This is the Daily Mix. 15 minutes of uncut perspective starts right now.
All right, welcome back, y'all. Today is Wednesday, 4/15/2026. Welcome back to the Daily Mix, y'all. I'm your host, Omari Jahi, broadcasting right here in the city of Chicago, and we've got a real one for you today. You know, growing up, we're fed a lot of stories. The prince saved the princess. The hero always gets the gold. The struggling artist gets discovered overnight, and everyone rides off into the sunset, right? The screen fades to black, and we assume it's happily, everybody living happily ever after. But then we grow up, y'all. You step out into the real world, and you realize life didn't hand any one of us a magic wand. There are bills, there are heartbreaks. These are detours. And there are days when the fairy tale feels like a flat out lie. Today, we're unpacking fairy tales versus reality. When the script we were handed as kids meets the pavement of the real world, what happens next? And more importantly, is reality actually better than the fairy tale? Let's jump right into the mix, y'all. Hold on, let me get my background music going here. You know, I like background music. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. The Hollywood illusion, y'all, kind of paints a picture for us in these movies, old TV shows, and fairy tale stories. They programmed us to expect perfection. In relationships, we expect love at first sight without the hard work, though. In careers, we expect a straight line of success. But here's the wake-up call, y'all. I remember how boys and girls were defined back in the day. Little girls were sugar and spice and everything nice. And little boys were snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. Y'all remember that? I didn't know what that snakes and snails things was, but I got the sugar and spice thing. When we grow up, though, and we realize that girls are not all sugar and spice, and guys are not all snakes and snails, we come to the reality of, like I said, the fairy tale hits the rubber of the road of reality. This fairy tale mindset can be very hurtful to us. When we compare our real messy lives to the perfect stories, you know, or nowadays, the people's perfect social media feed, we feel like we are failing when really we are just living best way we can, you know. The work makes the reward in all of this. It makes it sweeter. Because fairy tales skip over the hard work. But reality is where the character is built in each and every one of us. Surviving the hard times makes the good times sound so much sweeter. It's like a good song. In the song, you need the tension in the song to appreciate the release. If you got to be a musician and understand, in order to understand and know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about tension and release. You know, that's a part of music. When you're playing music, there has to be a build up. That's your tension. And then when you get to the climax of the build up, that's your release. You know, real love versus movie love. I mean, really? We can't understand the difference that in the movies, that's make believe. Real love isn't just riding off into the sunset. It's choosing to stay when the horse gets tired. It's compromise, patience, and growing together. That kind of love has more depth than any fairy tale. The best part about letting go of a fairy tale is that you get the pen. You got the pen. You get to write your story. You don't have to follow the standard path. But let me say something about this thing too, about this standard path, because there are certain traditions. See, I understand evolution. I understand evolving, growing, getting better. But you don't evolve and grow and get better by destroying the steps or burning down the ladder that got you where you are. You still have to stand on those principles that made you who you are. You don't throw them out the window because you didn't like them or you didn't care about them. To you, it was uh, a painful experience or whatever. You don't do that. You have to follow certain standards. You have to keep in line with these standards. And then you, as an individual, evolve still standing on principles. They say we can pivot, right? This is what we do. We pivot, we reinvent ourselves. Nothing wrong with that, pivoting and reinventing yourself. Again, stand on the traditional principles that deals with, and these principles deals with character. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Now, I'm a DJ, right? And as a DJ, people are calling me not all the time. I wish they was calling me all the time, but people call me a lot to book me for gigs, right? Now, let's say a person booked me, what's the day? Let's say somebody booked me for the 20th of this month, and I charged them a certain amount. And somebody calls me the next day and offers me more money than I would have made on that gig on the 20th, but on the same date. But they're going to charge or pay me more money. So now, what does principle say? Do I pivot? Do I adjust and say, oh, call the other person back and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do your event for you. I forgot. I was booked on that date already, and then go for the more money? No, that's not a principle move. Even if you lose money, standing on principle is more valuable than giving up your principle for money. I'm going to say that again. Standing on your principle and losing money is more valuable than giving up your principles and making more money. But, a lot of times we believe that we find joy in unexpected places. As we wrap up, I want to leave. Well, no. I think I got a video I want you guys to see. Hold on, let me see here. I think I got a video here. Oh, wait a minute. No. I'm missing something here. I'm gonna show. Well, I got a video I want to show you guys at the end. But this is I have to, when we step out into the real world, I'm gonna show the video at the end though, but and you realize we didn't have a magic wand or anything, to make this thing as fairy tale as we were made to believe it to be, And so we grow up, and I see a lot of women on YouTube, and I see guys too, but it's more women than it is guys that are under the impression that Prince Charming is supposed to come in and swoop them off their feet. They ain't got to do nothing. All they got to do is sit there. and Prince Charming is supposed to come in, you know. But now here's another one. Check this out though. Here's another one that modern day people don't really look at. There was a childhood story back in the day that spoke about a frog. Even this is another good example. Beauty and the Beast. That's another good example. Whereas this awful looking dude was beastly looking, but underneath all that was a prince, right? What's the message in that story? That you shouldn't judge people by their appearance, right? That's what you would think, right? But oh no, we don't roll like that. Not today, not in this society. You know, we go by looks. We go by appearances. Because even though we may have been read that story when we were children, when you get older and you start dating and you bring, as a little girl, you bring an ugly dude home, or what, quote unquote, what they call ugly dudes, you bring one home, your mama's gonna be like, they got to pull you to the side and tell you, don't bring no, you know. And this is what we do to our kids, because we ourselves are not fully evolved, or maybe, like we were speaking of earlier, we got rid of some stuff, some traditional stuff that we should have held on, that our parents gave us, you know, that we threw away because we didn't particularly care for it or whatever. And now today we're suffering because those traditions created certain peace in our community, in our families, in our neighborhoods. It's the way that you deal with one another and things of that nature, that we kind of threw that crap away, you know, for this, you can't say nothing to my kids, you know. If my kids do something wrong, it ain't your business. You know, this is kind of what we standing on today. But to be honest with you, we got a lot of work to do. But before we get out of here, I want to add something else to the mix. There's a video, like I said, I had this video I want to show you, but I want, at the end of every podcast now, I want to show a video that deals with that kind of gives us some kind of lesson in the end, you know, something that we can carry over from this day to tomorrow and start putting into practice. You know, today it's about the wise man and the fool. It's a story, a little short story about a wise man and a fool. And then we come back, I'm gonna tell you all my take on it. Then we're gonna get out of here because we got what? Ooh, we got about 2 minutes left. Okay, here we go.
Akbar was walking in the palace gardens when he saw a wise man sitting under a tree. Akbar approached the wise man and asked him, "What is the difference between a wise man and a fool?" The wise man thought for a moment and then said, "A wise man knows that he knows nothing, while a fool thinks that he knows everything." Akbar was impressed by the wise man's answer. He asked the wise man if he could teach him how to be wise. The wise man agreed to teach Akbar. He told Akbar that the first step to becoming wise was to be humble. He said that a wise man is always willing to learn new things, while a fool is always too proud to admit that he is wrong. Akbar took the wise man's advice to heart. He became more humble and more willing to learn. As a result, he became a wise man himself. Moral of the story: true wisdom comes from humility and a willingness to learn.
I agree. True wisdom comes from being humble and a willingness to learn. But I also believe the moral of the story between the story of the wise man and the fool is protect your energy. Because see, you cannot win a debate against someone who is stubbornly committed to ignorance or irrationality. Engaging in pointless arguments only drain you and drag you down to their level. So let's walk away with that tonight. Well, not tonight, today. I'm your host. I'm Omari Jahi. Keep your head up, guys. Keep your peace of mind. And I'll be white black tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Mix. Peace. I see y'all tomorrow.
Take care of your mind, take care of your health, and we'll be back in the mix tomorrow at 12 noon. Till then, peace out.